Okay, good morning folks. My name's Paddy. Welcome to this short session on an introduction to point fighting safety equipment. We've got two objectives for this session. We're going to ensure that by the end of the session, each learner will be able to identify what the different pieces of safety equipment are, and also discuss and recall the purpose of each piece of equipment. Before we get started, just going to go around the room and ask you just two simple questions. What your name is, and do you have any experience of point fighting or martial arts in general? So we'll just start at this end and we'll work around the room.
My name's Mark. No martial arts, only street fighting.
Okay, Mark, thank you very much.
My name's Bob, only not martial arts, but used to box years ago for the army and before joining the army.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Bob.
Yeah, my name's Colin Gold. I did karate when I was younger and taekwondo, and I had a quick bit of jiu-jitsu, but it was enough for me.
Okay, and what style of karate was that, Colin?
Shotokan.
Hi, I'm Jean McLean. I've got no experience of martial arts. I have watched my children do martial arts, but no experience.
Okay, do you know what kind of martial arts it was, Jean?
I'm just trying to think what they did. I think it was taekwondo.
Taekwondo.
Yeah.
Lots of leg work in taekwondo.
Yeah.
And last but not least.
Hi, I'm Julie. I have zero experience of any sort of fighting. First time in trouble and I'm under the table.
Okay, thanks Julie. Just to give a little bit of an explanation, within the realm of kickboxing there's a variety of different styles of fighting. Point fighting very much is a case of you will line up on the mats, whoever gets the first point will stop, reset and then go again. Right? Very light contact. As I mentioned, there is a possibility of disqualification for excessive contact. It does happen. Next step up from that really is light contact kickboxing, where it's effectively boxing rules but adding in kicks above the waist. Should have said sorry, with point fighting it's contact above the waist. 1 point for a punch to the body or the head, 1 point for a kick to the body, 2 points for a kick to the head. If you're dynamic enough and maybe a little bit silly enough to try it, a jumping kick or a spinning kick will add an extra point in if it's to the head. So a jumping spinning kick is worth 4 points to the head. So for those who are flexible enough and young enough to try it, it's well worth it for the extra points. Light contact, like I say, boxing plus kicks to the body and head, based on the same scoring system as a boxing match with 10 points or 9 points in a round. But again, light contact, no knockouts, it's about controlled technique. If you step up to full contact, then it is exactly what it says. It's as in a professional boxing match with kicks to the head and body. Yeah, but the aim in those fights is to knock out your opponent. That is what you are aiming for. So the level of aggression, the level of force you use today massively jumps up. Other styles are low kick and K1. Now they're very similar to light contact and full contact, but they also allow kicks to the legs, whether that's the lower leg or the upper thigh. Very much based on the Muay Thai style fighting from Thailand. So moving on to the equipment, we'll start at the top and work our way down the body. First off, we've got the head guard. Made from a substance called Bayflex. It's a registered trademark technology. It's a type of polyurethane which gives high absorbency properties. I'll pass them most of the equipment around. Some I will keep on the table just for hygiene reasons more than anything. You can see with the head guard it's adjustable both at the back of the head for circumference and also around the chin as well. One that I'm definitely not going to pass around to you guys is the gum shield. For obvious reasons, it's been in my mouth and it's not particularly nice to even think about that. Again, there are a variety of options when it comes to gum shields. So you can go from the very cheap option, which is about £8 or £9, self-mould, dip it in some boiling water, take it out, put it in your mouth, mould it around your teeth, dip it in some cold water, and then you're good to go. They're, like I say, they're about £9. Still very effective. Or you can go up to custom made, and I was checking some of these out over the weekend, and found one where you can get a custom made gun shield with gold leaf wording on it to your specification for this princely sum of £450. Now these are guys who are fighting at elite levels, at the top of the of sports, where they're making thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of pounds for each fight. Moving down, we've got the elbow pads. Weirdly, 2 colours. The reason for that is these are reversible. Big cushioned elbow pad there. Purpose of those is, like it says, it's to protect your elbows. A kick to the elbow, even with safety footwear on, will cause damage to both the kicker and the receiver. A kick which lands directly on the elbow hurts badly. Reason we've got 2 colours is when it comes to international competitions, the fighters will either have to wear full red kit or full blue kit, depending on which side of the mat they're lining up on. So it's a little bit of cost saving there with the reversible elbow guards. Moving down to the gloves. They're similar but different to boxing gloves. You can see they've got an open palm, so there's nothing covering the front of the hand. Closed and secure with a Velcro strap. They also come further up the wrist than a boxing glove to give a bit more support to the wrist when fighting.
What do you think for it?
Nice pink colour. They're foam covered with a synthetic leather compound on the outside, and allegedly sweat wicking fabric on the inside. They do pick up, and they do get a bit smelly over time. Again, another one I'm not going to pass around for obvious reasons of where it's been. It's a groin guard. Effectively, it is fabric with a plastic cup inside, and is providing obvious protection for gentlemen. There are female options as well. The cup is not quite as pronounced as you can imagine. For anyone who watches UFC or anything like that, at the weekend there was a big show on in Manchester, and several of the fights were actually stopped or paused midway for accidental kicks to the groin, both in male fights and in female fights. So even with a groin guard on, a kick to the groin, it still will bring tears to your eyes. Moving on to the shin pads, so we're down onto the legs now. Various options of these. The ones I've got are just simple foam. They're very similar to the elbow pads, but a little bit longer. And they'll come from just below the knee to just above the ankle. So these ones are effectively just like a footless sock. Slide over your leg, and they won't move, and they give protection. Again, we should be kicking with the shin, but in the heat of a fight, it can very easily make contact with arms, elbows, and your opponent's legs and knees as well. And the last part of the mandatory equipment is the safety kick or the boot. Against, like the gloves, secure with Velcro, made of the exact same fabric. It's got foam on the inside, it's got a synthetic leather on the outside, and the same sweat wicking fabric in the internal parts. As well as a Velcro strap, which we use in a figure-8 system to secure around your foot. It's got toe loops as well to stop it coming away from your toes. To avoid exposed toes making contact with eyes, really.
So you're not wearing them, I thought they were
No,
like
no.
covers, like
So it's
for
bare
your
feet
chairs.
underneath them. There's nothing along the bottom apart from the toe loop and the Velcro strap. That's the only thing. Sorry, Julie?
They're fetching, aren't they? So when you said the last of the mandatory bit,
Yes, so
okay.
the There's 7 mandatory pieces of
So
equipment.
they're all that's right.
They're all mandatory, they must be worn in any competition. And depending on the organising body that you're fighting under, some will insist on certain manufacturers as well. So we fight under WACO, which is the World Association of Kickboxing Organisations, and they have got 3 equipment manufacturers that they approve. One of them is Top 10, which most of the gear we've got here is. Another one is Adidas, and the third one is Century, which again manufacture predominantly martial arts equipment. There are other manufacturers by Atomic, and a lot of clubs actually have their own customised equipment as well, which is usually acceptable at local level, sometimes at national level, but certainly at international level it'll be the prescribed by the awarding body. So moving on to some of the optional extras that you can wear. Really there's 2, and it's about hand protection. You've got 2 options. You've got fast straps, like these ones, which fingers feed through, fasten a Velcro security there, and then it's just a quick wrap around the wrist. These I find are good for training because they're quick and easy, and it's on and done and dusted in a matter of seconds. You can feel the additional padding you get at the knuckles. Just pass that
Do
around.
the gloves go on?
The gloves will go on top of that, June, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can quite comfortably get the glove on top of that.
Okay.
I've actually gone for a size bigger in glove than I really need. These are large, I really need a medium, but with the wraps on underneath, it brings obviously the size of your hand up quite a bit. So to give space for that, I wear a size bigger in glove than I really need.
Why are those not mandatory?
Because
for
it's,
this?
in point fighting, it's down to the individual. When you get to light contact, full contact, then some kind of hand wrap is mandatory, you have to wear them. Because the level of contact and force being used in point fighting does not justify making it mandatory. But the thing to bear in mind with hand wraps, in fact, I'm going to ask a question. What do you think the purpose of the hand wrap is? Julie, any idea? Eh? Keep your hands cozy? Not quite. Mark, any thoughts on that?
There's a couple of reasons. Maybe, I know in boxing, hand wraps is to absorb the sweat, so your hands are not
Yeah.
slipping about inside the gloves.
Yeah, that's one of it.
Support.
Yeah,
What's
it
the
is.
protection?
It's about protecting you, yeah. There's a common misconception that the use of hand wraps is there to make your hand tighter, enabling a harder punch. It's nonsense. You've got so many small bones and ligaments in your hands. It's about basically squashing them in as close as possible and holding them tight so you're not going to damage them. So the alternative to the fast strap is the traditional bandage wrap. Now I'm not going to pass it around, I'm not going to demonstrate. It's got a loop on one end which goes around your thumb. Most fighters have got their own version of how they will apply the wrap. Yeah, but it's going to go around your wrist, it's going to go around your knuckles and cover the hand. Just to let you see, we're looking at a 4.5 metre bandage to cover an adult hand. Right, it is quite substantial. And like I say, at the opposite end, you've just got a Velcro fastening strap to close it down.
Did you manage to put that on yourself?
Yes.
I'm not asking you.
Yeah. You're probably looking at maybe to put a set on about 4.5 to 5 minutes if you're doing it yourself. If you're getting help, you can probably do it a lot quicker than that. But again, a lot of it comes down to personal preference and how you want the wrap applied. So I've got a quick quiz for you, just on what we've gone through. So if you quickly note down the answers, we'll take them in and we'll check them out, okay? So the first question is, can you remember what material the head guard is made from? Okay. Question 2. How many pieces of mandatory equipment did I tell you there were? Question 3 is, what is the purpose of a hand ramp? Why are we applying them? Question 4, I've just realised I forgot to tell you what the difference between a kickboxing head guard and a traditional boxing head guard is. So I'll cover it. The main difference between these and a boxing head guard is the top of the head. In a boxing head guard, there will be very unlikely to have any protection on the top of the head because you won't be getting hit in there. However, in kickboxing, there is a technique called an axe kick, where you bring your foot up and bring it down. Yeah, exactly. So there's the additional protection on the top of the head there in the event of an axe kick. But it's one, if you see it coming, you want to get out of the way of that one because it's going to hurt. So apologies for not covering that earlier. Okay, so I'll open it up to the floor. Do any of you guys have any questions on anything we've covered or anything related to the topic?
Yeah,
Yes, Colin.
What material is a head guard made?
Okay, so covered it earlier, it's a material called Bayflex. Yeah, it's a type of polyurethane which gives high energy absorbency.
How much does it cost to kit yourself out?
A whole kit. So head guard, you're looking at about 90 to 95 pounds. Gloves are about 60. Shoes are about 50. The fast straps, £45 for those ones. These traditional bandage wraps are about £8-9. Groin guard about 15, shin guards about 15, gum shield, like I say, can be anything from £5-6 up to several £100. Total head to toe, you're looking, cheapest options for a decent set of kit, you're looking at about £300. And then you've got to get your fight uniform on top of that as well, which is about another £70 or £80. So all in, you're looking about 400 quid.
What age groups does this cover? What age do you
So our club, we have got fighters from the age of, I think the youngest one is about 6 and the oldest one is 60.
Oh, wow.
So it's a massive age range. We did have a member at the club who was 70 until earlier on this year, but she moved away from the area, so she's stopped attending.
And like, do you do grading?
Yes, so we've got a full grading system.
So, and how are those gradings, so like, how like in like Taekwondo and Suyando, they do belts?
Yeah,
So
same-
is it the same? the
same
belts,
thing,
so you
yeah.
all go up
So you
the same
start
thing?
white belt up to black
Okay.
belt.
Okay.
Yeah, and you progress through the skill levels and the techniques that you're working on.
And what about, so I take it like it's obviously like, when you're boxing, there's penalties and things.
Yes.
So, like you were saying, the competitions have been stopped because there was obviously kicks to the groin area. And is that like a disqualification or?
It will depend on what's happened. If somebody has made a genuine attempt to kick the body, and it can be a case of somebody's thrown a kick and you blocked it,
Okay.
and by blocking it you've knocked it down.
Okay, yeah,
That would be an accidental.
okay.
If somebody is deliberately aiming for the groin, then yeah, they would probably get a warning first time.
Okay.
Second warning, it would be a disqualification.
Probably quite good for people with anger issues, isn't it?
I would.
Because there must be some control.
Yeah. So in training, when you're working on a punch bag, it's fantastic for aggression.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actually fighting, you're right. There needs to be a lot of control. I've seen people lose it on mats and end up getting themselves disqualified. One guy who last year at the Scottish Open, he was winning the final, and he was convinced he should have scored a point. Referees didn't see it, so couldn't award it, and he started shouting and screaming at the referees and got himself disqualified. So he ended up with nothing over not being able to control his own anger. Any more questions? Okay, so just a quick summary, guys. Our aim was an introduction to the safety equipment required during point fighting. We covered the objectives, identifying what the different pieces are, and discussing and recalling the purpose of each piece of equipment. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.